The alleged Mr. Big behind mass drug shipment appears in court. The government's plans to slash driving in Auckland, and there's a new police minister in town. How Ginny Anderson got the nod. Te Maria, I'm Sheree Kinnear, and these are the latest New Zealand Herald headlines. The man New Zealand police alleged to be the Mr. Big behind one of the country's largest drug shipments has been extradited from Spain. About half a tonne of meth was smuggled into Bay of Plenty in April 2019. 5 men were charged with possession of meth for supply a few months later, when police found 2 huge stashes of drugs in Auckland and Hamilton. The man was arrested by Spanish police last January, and New Zealand police officers flew to Spain to escort him back here. He arrived on Saturday and appeared by audio-visual link in the Tauranga District Court yesterday and is due to appear again next month. The government is stepping in to cut the number of kilometres Aucklanders drive by nearly a third to curb the city's globally high transport emissions rate. The planned cuts by 2035 stem from one of the targets in the government's emissions reduction plan to achieve net zero emissions by 2050. But the proposal has been criticised as adding to the never-ending merry-go-round of plans and perceived as a war on private vehicles. Meanwhile, the Transport Minister insists regions won't be left out in the cold over cash to fix and maintain roads. It comes as exclusive analysis obtained by our newsroom reveals the share of transport funding going towards roads hit a decade low of 70% in 2021. At the same time, the distance travelled by vehicles jumped from 43 billion kilometres in 2017 to 49 billion 4 years later. Michael Wood says the overall amount of transport funding has increased and we need to explore other options.
We will always be there to repair, remediate and strengthen the resilience of the network. That's critical. Those communities can have our guarantee of that. But we'll also take the action to reduce our emissions.
Prime Minister Chris Hipkins is backing his newly appointed police minister, who he says has a strong and relevant background in the portfolio. Hutt South MP Ginny Anderson's been appointed to the role less than 2 months after being promoted to cabinet, which has drawn criticism from the opposition. She entered politics in 2017, but before that worked in police policy for more than a decade. Anderson became policy manager at Police National Headquarters, during which she was a strategic advisor on Māori, Pacific and ethnic services, focusing on reducing Māori offending. An international relations expert says New Zealand's relationship with China is deeply important. Foreign Minister Nanaia Mahuta leaves today for Beijing to meet with her newly appointed counterpart, Shen Jiang. It marks the first visit by any New Zealand minister to China since 2019. Otago University's Robert Patman says Mahuta's indicated China has an integral part to play in our economic recovery post-COVID.
Last year, the two countries marked 50 years of diplomatic relations. It has been a strong relationship. I think 31% of our exports go to China, which is a very large share.
And in world news, extra security has been brought in ahead of Donald Trump's anticipated indictment in New York. It stems from an investigation into hush money payments to adult film star Stormy Daniels in 2016. Trump claimed on his Truth Social platform he expected to be arrested this week and called on his followers to protest. And those are the latest New Zealand Herald headlines. For more stories and to stay up to date, head to nzherald.co.nz. Kia pai te rā. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. To stay up to date with all the latest news from the New Zealand Herald, click the subscribe button below or check out one of the videos here, and head over to nzherald.co.nz for more details on these stories and more.